Hey beginner sewers, if your sewing machine feels confusing or unpredictable sometimes, you are not alone. Before you blame your sewing machine for skipped stitches, thread nests, or crooked seams, check this first. These are common mistakes most beginners don't even know they're making, and once you fix them, your sewing machine instantly becomes smoother, easier, and way less frustrating. So today I'm breaking down 10 common sewing machine mistakes beginners make all the time, and more importantly, how to fix them so your sewing feels easier, smoother, and a whole lot less stressful. Mistake 1. Pulling the fabric while you sew. Let's start with a big one. Pulling the fabric while you sew. A lot of beginners do this because it feels like you're helping the machine. But when you pull, you actually fight the feed dogs, bend the needle, and end up with stretched, wavy seams instead. So let the machine do the feeding for you. Your hands are just there to gently guide the fabric straight. Just slow down a little and don't pull. How it affects your sewing. Bends or breaks needles, wavy stretched seams, uneven stitch length and tension. Mistake 1. Pulling the fabric while you sew. How to fix and avoid in the future. Let the feed dogs move the fabric. Your hands only guide, not pull. Sew at a steady, comfortable speed. Mistake 2. Not lowering the presser foot before sewing. Another super common mistake is starting to sew with the presser foot still up. When the foot is up, your fabric isn't held in place and your thread tension isn't engaged. That's when you get a big tangled bird's nest underneath your fabric. How it affects your sewing. Bird's nest of thread underneath. No tension leads to messy stitches. Fabric doesn't feed correctly. Mistake 2. Not lowering the presser foot before sewing. How to fix and avoid in the future. Make presser foot down part of your start routine. Before you press the pedal, quickly check foot down, needle up. Mistake 3. Using the wrong presser foot for the stitch. Next is using the wrong presser foot for the stitch you've chosen. If you're using a zigzag or decorative stitch but you still have your standard straight stitch foot on, there may not be enough room for the needle to move. That's when you get sudden needle breaks or thread jams. How it affects your sewing. Needle hits the foot leading to breaks. Stitches bunch or jam. Decorative or zigzag stitches don't form correctly. Mistake 3. Using the wrong presser foot for the stitch. How to fix and avoid in the future. Use the standard foot for straight or basic stitches. Use the zigzag or decorative foot when the needle swings side to side. Check your manual icons or foot labels. Swapping to correct zigzag or decorative foot, decorative stitch sewing smoothly. Mistake 4. Starting the seam too close to the fabric edge. If your fabric keeps getting eaten by the machine, you might be starting your seam too close to the edge. When the needle comes down right at the very edge, the fabric can get pushed down into the needle plate instead of moving forward. How it affects your sewing. Fabric gets pushed into the needle plate. Chewed edges and bunched fabric. Weak seams right at the edge. Mistake 4. Starting the seam too close to the fabric edge. How to fix and avoid in the future. Start about a 1/4 inch or 6 millimeter from the edge. Or start a little further in, then backstitch toward the edge. Remember to click the subscribe button for more beginner-friendly sewing tips and tutorials. Mistake 5. Bobbin not inserted correctly. A wrongly inserted bobbin is behind so many beginner tension problems. If your bobbin is turning in the wrong direction or it's not clicked into place properly, you'll see loops, nests, or uneven stitches on the underside of your fabric. How it affects your sewing. Looping or thread nests on the underside. Machine makes strange noises. Stitches skip or don't form consistently. Mistake 5. Bobbin not inserted correctly. How to fix and avoid in the future. Make sure the bobbin drops in the correct direction. Pull the thread through the bobbin guide exactly as shown in the manual. Listen or feel the bobbin clicking into position. Mistake 6. Winding the bobbin incorrectly, loose or uneven. Listen or feel for the bobbin clicking into position if applicable. Even if your bobbin is inserted correctly, a poorly wound bobbin can still cause problems. If the thread is loose, spongy, or piling up more on one side, the machine can't feed it smoothly and your stitches will show it. How it affects your sewing. Tight or loose spots in the seam. Inconsistent tension. Bobbin thread snags or stop feeding smoothly. Mistake 6. Winding the bobbin incorrectly, loose or uneven. How to fix and avoid in the future. Thread the bobbin through the bobbin tension guide before winding. Let the machine wind at a steady speed. Stop and rewind the bobbin if the bobbin looks loose or lopsided. Mistake 7. Not holding thread tails when starting a seam. This next one is tiny but powerful, not holding your thread tails at the start of a seam. If you just start sewing and the tails are loose, they can get pulled down into the machine and create a knot or messy tangle right where you start. How it affects your sewing. Thread tails get sucked into the machine. Knots or nests at the start of the seam. Stitches pull out when you trim the threads. Mistake 7. Not holding thread tails when starting a seam. How to fix and avoid in the future. Hold top and bottom thread tails gently behind the presser foot. Hold for 2 to 3 stitches, then let go. Or pull threads back and under the foot before starting. Mistake 8. Forgetting to check machine settings before sewing. If you just start sewing, the machine will do exactly what it said to do, not what you meant. So before you start a new seam, take 3 seconds to scan your settings: stitch type, stitch length, stitch width, and needle position. Setting your machine back to your standard straight stitch after special stitches is a great habit that saves fabric and confusion. How it affects your sewing. Accidental decorative or zigzag where you want it straight. Wrong stitch length or width for the fabric. Surprising results or a ruined test piece or project. Mistake 8. Forgetting to check machine settings before sewing. How to fix and avoid in the future. Quick pre-sew checklist with stitch type, stitch length, stitch width, and needle position. Return to your standard straight stitch setting after fancy stitches. Mistake 9. Lifting the presser foot while the needle is still down. If you lift your presser foot while the needle is still down by accident, it can twist your fabric and even snap your needle. It leaves a little uneven spot in your stitches that's easy to notice and difficult to hide later. How it affects your sewing. Twists or shifts the fabric. Can bend or snap the needle. Creates a kink in the stitch line. Mistake 9. Lifting the presser foot while the needle is still down. How to fix and avoid in the future. Always raise the needle first, then lift the presser foot. Use the hand wheel to bring the needle to its highest point. Pivot only when the needle is down and you're intentionally pivoting, like turning a corner. Mistake 10. Turning the hand wheel backwards. When you're learning, it's very tempting to turn the hand wheel backwards to undo a stitch or fix something quickly. But home sewing machines are designed to turn in one direction only. Turning the wheel backwards can cause your thread to tangle and your stitches to act inconsistent. How it affects your sewing. Thread tangles in the bobbin area. Machine can skip stitches. In extreme cases, timing can be affected over time. Mistake 10. Turning the hand wheel backwards. How to fix and avoid in the future. Only turn the hand wheel towards you, which is counterclockwise on most domestic machines. If you go too far, don't roll back, sew forward again instead. Use gentle motion to raise and lower the needle by hand. If any of these mistakes look familiar, just remember you're not doing anything wrong. Every beginner goes through this, and the fact that you're learning these fixes mean you're already ahead. Small changes like these make sewing feel smoother, more predictable, and so much more enjoyable. Remember to click the subscribe button for more beginner-friendly sewing tips and tutorials. Want a beginner-friendly machine? I recommend the Sinker Heavy Duty 6380, which helps new sewers get clean, consistent stitches with ease. I've added my affiliate link in the description if you want to check it out. It's beginner-friendly, reliable, and perfect for learning the basics.